Hello pretty people, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Tori. Thank you so much for being here today. For today's video, we have unlocked a new location. We are currently in my living room. We are sitting on the ground and we will be talking about all of the guidelines I've created to try and have a low buy 2025. Full disclosure, I have tried to do a no spend month before. I think this was in like 2022 and I failed. However, even though I failed that challenge, I learned a lot about myself and I implemented some things that I had as guidelines back then. For example, way back then, I said I was not going to use Klarna or Afterpay on any purchases that month. And I don't think I've used Klarna or Afterpay in years, so much so that at the start of this year, I deleted my accounts on both of those apps because they were useless to me. So these guidelines will be kind of expanding on some of the learnings I've had previously in my life. And I thought that if 2024 was the year of realizing things offline, 2025 was about realizing things together. I feel like this is going to be a very chatty video, so grab a drink. Let's get into it. I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but there is one guideline on here that I intend to reinforce throughout the year of 2025. Most of these are only for the first 6 months or the first 3 months of the year, and then around June or July I will reevaluate my guidelines and kind of see what I've learned thus far in the year. We have so many travel plans and things happening at the start of my year that I think are like good goalposts or good like markers of time, and then the second half of the year is kind of a different story. I also want to say that I'm calling this a low buy year as opposed to a no or a low spend year, because 2025 is full of a lot of travel for me, which is all very exciting. I have a lot of friends getting married. That includes going to weddings, doing the bachelorette kind of things. I also have something planned for my 29th birthday this year. There are a lot of things happening this year, but I really want to be more intentional about the items and things that I'm bringing into my life. This first guideline is the only guideline that I'm pretty sure I'm going to enforce year round, and that is no new skincare, makeup, or candles until I've used up everything that I already have. I feel like in a world full of overconsumption, this is just regular consumption. The only exception I have to this rule is that I can buy Aquaphor even if I have some left, because last year I had a really bad experience with my lips getting super chapped and getting sun blisters, and ever since then Aquaphor has kind of become my safety blanket when it comes to my lips. So even when I start to run out just a tiny bit, I'm buying more Aquaphor. The second rule that I have for myself is no meal delivery apps or grocery delivery for the first 6 months of the year. I am someone who really loves the social aspect of going to a restaurant. I love breaking bread with my friends, getting together and having a really lovely meal. I feel like one of the greatest selling points of meal delivery and grocery delivery is like the convenience and ease of it all. But I feel like chasing convenience is a very slippery slope. Like, we live in a very interesting time in human history where like that's kind of like one of the biggest selling points of like AI is like, well, it's convenient. You don't want to read a whole book, have AI read it to you or summarize it to you. And it's like, well, then what's the point? And I feel like by making things like grocery shopping or eating meals more about convenience than the experience of it all, kind of just like rids yourself of like the joy that is living. Like for myself, I love going out to dinner with my friends. So instead of buying an overpriced like lukewarm takeout meal that I'll have to myself, that'll probably spend like upwards of $60 on, I'd rather allocate that money towards spending 50 or 60 bucks on dinner with my friends. But at least I'm with my friends, I'm breaking bread with them and I'm socializing, so it makes the experience more enriching. When it comes to grocery delivery services, like I'm someone who really enjoys like the leisurely element of like walking around a grocery store and looking at all the fun products or getting my produce myself. And since I can do that, I can go grocery shopping on my own. I'm an able-bodied person. I have the luxury of time to spend a whole afternoon at the grocery store. Why don't I? The only time I ever really use grocery delivery apps is when I'm like lazy. And it's like it all comes down to poor planning. So I think this kind of forces me to be a bit of a better planner. One of my resolutions for 2025 is to try out 2 new recipes a month. And so if I'm already trying to find joy in cooking and making a meal, I want to find joy in all of the elements of making a meal, from like finding the recipe, finding the produce, to making the meal and consuming it. A long-winded way to say I just don't want to waste money on those apps. The only exception that I have to this is that my use of Thrive Market is okay. I really fell for Thrive Market. Okay, they do a lot of really great YouTube advertising, but I really do find that that membership really offers a lot of my pantry and refrigerator staples at a much more affordable price point. So that feels worth it to me. So yes, I do use it like slightly out of convenience, but also it does truly save me money. The third guideline that I have on here is no new physical media for the first 6 months of the year. That includes books, that includes vinyl, it includes DVDs, all of that. In 2023 and 2024, a lot of my favorite authors did release new titles. How many of them have I actually read? One. How many do I own? All of them. I haven't even read the latest Sally Rooney, and I'm a die-hard Sally Rooney girl. Yeah, I really need to read my physical TBR. I do not need to be buying any new books. The exception to the book rule is that I can buy my book club's book if the holds at the library are too long. I love the book club that I'm a part of. Like, our monthly meetings are very enriching. The books that we read are so interesting. I love hearing everyone's perspective on the book. I don't want to deprive myself of that really educational and enriching social situation. So for book club, I am allowed to buy a new book. The only exception to the vinyl rule is if Harry Styles releases his new album this year. There have been slight whisperings of him releasing new music, but nothing's confirmed. But in my heart, I'm like, but if he releases it, I do want the vinyl. So that's that. Going along with my physical media collection, another rule that I have for myself is no concert tees. I have 2 drawers in my dresser that are filled to the brim with concert tees from like when I was a child till now. Okay, I only ever wear these concert tees in 2 situations. Like, they're my house clothes / pajamas, or I wear them on my way to the gym. Like, I'm never styling an actual outfit with these pieces, so like, why am I spending more money there? I feel like artists nowadays are also making so much more interesting merch, and like, I've noticed that in 2024 I was wearing a lot of dad caps, and I've been wearing a lot of like dad cap merch, so I'm like, okay, that could be an option. If it's a good quality tote bag, why not a tote bag or pins? But no more t-shirts. The next rule that I have for myself is no new home decor, mugs, plateware, catch-alls, tchotchkes, trinkets for the first 6 months of the year. Over the past year, I've spent a lot of money furnishing my apartment, and I really want to continue taking my time figuring out what exactly I want on the walls, what I want to fill my home with. That being said, the only exception to this rule is if I find a large enough art piece to hang behind my couch. This wall, this area has been the hardest for me to find anything for. If I happen to find the most beautiful, perfect painting for behind my couch, you bet your ass I'm buying it. The other exception that I have are the places where I'm traveling this year, especially in the first 6 months of the year. I'll be going to Dallas for the first time, and I'm so excited for the vintage shopping there. I'm also going to New York this year and hopefully France. And I really love collecting items from my travels, whether that be a magnet or a coaster or something just a little bit more fun. Sometimes these items don't even have to have the name of where I went on them, but whenever I buy something from outside of the city that I live in, I'll always remember where I found it and where I got it. So I want to still kind of leave myself the opportunity to discover or to stumble upon those kinds of things. I don't want to deprive myself too much. And I also feel like when it comes to like homeware, I'm always going to like vintage stores, consignment stores, or like really small mom and pop shop brands, like places where either the inventory always changes or places that I never have the opportunity to go to. So I want to give myself some leeway to do some digging and discovering in other cities as well. Okay. If anything looks different, I did have to recharge you for a little bit because my camera did die. Where were we? Okay, this channel is first and foremost a fashion channel, so of course I have something pertaining to clothing on this list. This guideline is I will not be buying any new clothing, shoes, or handbags for the first 3 months of the year. New means retail, but it also means thrifting. At the start of every year, I feel like there's always an influx of trend videos, whether that's people predicting what they think will be big in 25 or publications and trend forecasters telling us about the big trends of the year, what was really popular down the runways for the 2025 collections, what influencers are buying, what everyone's buying, the hot thing you have to have in order to survive this life. And I really just like kind of want to remove myself from that. I don't want to be tempted to buy anything because of external forces. I also feel like I really want to flex this idea that even though I like a trend does not necessarily mean that I have to buy it in order to appreciate it or love it. I can still really truly love things from afar. I also find that I'm so much more creative when I have a limited selection of clothing, whether that be I'm not buying anything or whether I try and style things I haven't styled in a while, or whether I'm trying to have some sort of like capsule wardrobe. I feel like by limiting myself to the pieces I already own, it will cause me to be a little bit more creative with how I get dressed every day. Within this guideline, I also have some other things that I would really like to accomplish, some like action items, if you will. First thing is that I want to keep a running wish list of all the things that I've been loving, that I want to buy. But I do really feel like keeping a wish list really helps you be a more intentional and mindful shopper. It definitely has helped me in the past, and I want to continue that trend. And then the second action item I wrote down is I want to keep track of all the clothing I wear. One of my friends and mutuals on here, Liz, aka Poop World, really loves the app Index, and she's kind of inspired me to digitize my wardrobe. I'm someone on here who always talks about my current rotation of outfits. I always talk about cost per wear, and the truth of the matter is that I don't have any data to back up what I say, and I would really love to have some concrete evidence as to my favorite pieces of the year, the items that get the most wear, the statement items that were worth it, through cataloging my closet online. The process of digitizing your closet though is a little bit daunting. I have yet to start simply because I have so much laundry to do, and it's slightly overwhelming, but we will be getting to that in the coming weeks, and maybe I'll vlog it. One thing I really hope to discover on this clothing ban is the gaps in my closet that I'd like to fill by restraining myself from shopping. Like, I'll start to figure out like, okay, like what are the pieces I keep adding to my wish list? What are the items I wish I could wear that I simply don't? So that's another thing I hope to discover. We have reached the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed. If you are someone who's planning to do a low buy or a no buy month, or maybe even year like me, I hope these guidelines kind of served as some inspiration for you. I'm really excited to see what this next year holds and like what I actually learned from this. I hope you will join me on this journey. I hope this was interesting or fun for you. I know there's a lot of curious minds out there. But yeah, that's it. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe. Leave a comment if you feel so inclined, because I know a lot of you are watching on your TVs. Right. Okay, and that's it. I'll see you later for the next one.